Hey everybody, it's Eric alongside Rod. Excited to have Denham Wojcik join us on the Final Fours on the schedule. As you probably know, Denham joins us, the Spartans, as a grad transfer from the Ivy League. His last name might seem familiar, not only as a Lithuanian friend of mine from high school, but also as that of the assistant coach Doug Wojcik. First, unlike Denham, whose wardrobe was already probably a little green and white from his dad, but now even more so, you and I have to get our own Spartan apparel the old-fashioned way, and there's no better place to get the decked out than Nudge Printing, where as a listener to the show, you get 20% off your order simply by typing Final Four as one word at checkout. Check it out at nudgeprinting.com. Okay, Denham. Had it been sort of, our curiosity with any of the Spartans, had it always been in the back of your mind that maybe you'd finish up your career at Michigan State, or did sort of this come out sort of more suddenly in the off season?
Um, I mean, I think a little bit, but I think I was just given that opportunity. I unfortunately had a couple surgeries and took my senior year off. So, given the injuries, I got the year back, and then it became a possibility. But when I went to Harvard, my plan going to Harvard was to be a 4-year player there, but injuries kind of changed that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, and you had been playing at like the Money Balls, right? So you'd been familiar with the East End. You've been here
Yep.
the summers and things like that, right? Yeah.
hmm
So you're going through a unique experience that most players obviously don't get, and that's playing with their dad coaching them. And we just recently saw that happen with Coach Izzo's son, Steven. Um, Curious what that's been like. I know it's still pretty early, but I'm assuming it's the first time in your life you've ever played for your dad, right?
No, it is. Growing up, I mean, just with my dad's profession coaching, he didn't really coach me a ton
Right.
growing up. So, first time, I mean, maybe coached like one weekend of AU at some point, but first time, it's going pretty well. He kind of coaches the bigs a lot, so there's not a ton of like hands-on stuff that he does with, the point guards and the guards, but it's been fun so far, just kind of having around, just being home, just being around family, seeing my mom all the time, my dad. It's a little unique after going to Harvard for 4 years and being away from home.
I know you said he really isn't necessarily spending a lot of time with your position group, but uh, do you feel he's harder on you at all? Sometimes you hear that with father-son dynamics.
I mean, yeah, he's hard on me, but he just wants me to succeed, whatever that looks like. So I get it's coming from a good place, but yeah, he's pushing me and always on me, and he like take me aside during practice and give me a tip here and there. But for the most part, it's going well, and I think that will it's July right now, and that will probably change as things get more intense as we get into the
Right.
season and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of perspective there. Um, but for now, things are good. So some nights it might not be that way.
Famous last words. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it'll be different when you're involved in the scouting report. You got Braden Smith coming up.
No,
The
exactly.
intensity ratchets up. Yeah.
At least you're probably eating better too, sitting at home, right? Than you
No,
were at
I'm
Harvard.
eating a lot better. I try not to go home for too many meals, but I end up home a lot. And I think it makes my mom happy, so she doesn't mind.
Got to keep moms happy. And if you want, guys, if you want to keep your wives happy, make sure you take care of your gutters. Contact the Brothers Adjust Your Gutters. They do fantastic work in gutter work. You get 10% off. You mentioned Final Four when you get your estimate, whether you're on the east side or the west side of the state. The brothers take care of everything with gutters. That's at tffinots.com/support to get the links. And so, Denham, coming into Michigan State, we don't obviously know a ton about you, and you play point guard at Harvard. What do you think your biggest strengths are coming in and bringing to the team?
I think I bring a lot of experience just being for a 4-year player already. Just steadiness and level-headedness that any team can need in the locker room and on the floor. I think my biggest strengths as a point guard, I think I have pretty defensive mindset. My dad's kind of a more defensive coach, but just being in the right position and spending good energy on defense and locking guys up, stuff like that. And then on that, I've been working this summer on just being ready to make catch and shoot open shots and threes, and it looks like that's where my role is going to be is knock down the open ones and then get guys good shots offensively. So those things are what I'm thinking about and how my role will be this year with the team.
Okay, so maybe you've already just touched on that, but other than say catch and shoot stuff, is there anything else you're focused on most in terms of I gotta improve here. I gotta get better during this off season.
I think I think playing out of the ball screen, being able to hit that mid range or that floater is one
Hmm.
area that I've been focusing on. I have a tendency. I love going baseline. I tend to get baseline a lot. You see, like I mean, you watch like TJ McConnell. He gets baseline pretty much at will in the NBA, and it's a little bit different because there's more spacing and stuff like that. But just keeping my dribble and try and put the defense in tough positions where we have the advantage, so we can get a bucket, whether it's myself or some other guy that's open for a shot.
How Coach Izzo has a reputation, I guess, on two ends of the equation when it comes to point guards. He's obviously had a ton of great ones, but he's also, from what you hear, really hard on those guys because it's their job to quarterback the team. What's that been like in the practices that you've had thus far, being coached by him specifically in regard to the demands of the position?
Yeah. I think the biggest change for me is just how fast. I knew how fast Michigan State plays, but there's a difference between knowing and then actually physically being out there and doing it. So coach is like, very strict about getting to that outlet. You have actions on the floor during practice, like getting to the sideline, getting your butt to the sideline, and then he loves the diagonal dribble. So playing at that pace is what he has emphasized the most with me thus far. And then just obviously taking care of the ball. There's it's kind of funny. You want to play fast, but you want to play under control. So finding that balance where it works out the best.
Right. Did you I don't recall, did you run much at Harvard? So is this like a big departure for you in terms of you mentioned
Yeah.
pace?
Yeah, I think it is. Like at Harvard, we were probably more of a half court team, but just the break in general wasn't as like the break here is more structured, where at Harvard it didn't really matter. Like whoever got the rebound would kind of push it, and if you found the outlet, if you found like and it worked out. But here it's more structured to where we get the ball up the floor and people are in positions. We got the wings running, got the first big, and then whoever's the trailing big. But I think just that structure makes it more efficient overall. So that's probably the biggest difference.
I think that's a really good point, and it probably doesn't get talked about enough that people think fast break is just kind of everybody just run as fast as they can from one baseline to the other. But at Michigan State in particular, as you mentioned, there are standards, there are roles that everybody's slotted into, and there are things you're supposed to do consistently. Maybe that doesn't get appreciated enough.
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, I think just a lot of teams it can be really unstructured, which for the most part can go well, at times. But I mean, you watch Michigan State basketball, you see like even just last year, getting the ball to Fears, and then 2 seconds later, Jaden Akins has a layup or Cohen has a dunk or whatever it may be, and it's just demoralizing. And some of the time, most of the times, it even be off of scored baskets. So I think I'm excited to play at that pace because it's just as a point guard, it's so easy to just get the ball and just throw it up the wing and you get easy assists.
On that note, I'll ask you the obvious question: what is it like playing with Cohen Carr coming down one of those wings as a point guard? It's got to be pretty much basketball nirvana.
Yeah, I think it would be, it's pretty fun just to like throw it up to him and then he can take one dribble or two and then he's either getting fouled or he's gonna lay up. That's pretty much the only options because he's kind of hard to stay in front of and nobody really wants to take a charge. But it's been fun so far. He's been telling me just throw it up and I'm just gonna listen. I'm not gonna say no. It's easy assist for me. So we've been having some good practices and he's been playing well.
Maybe just a quick follow up to that. On the other wing, we've heard, and I think anybody who's been at Moneyball has seen some evidence of what the guy on the other side, Trey Fort, is like athletically. What have you seen from him specifically in transition? Does it really make it a pick your poison for the defense?
Yeah, I think like Cohen is supreme like 1 foot jumper. I say Trey is a supreme 2 foot jumper. So there's a lot of athleticism on both wings. So having both of those guys run the wing is going to be a problem for defenses because they can easily just get downhill and be dynamic.
Interesting. So you play Moneyball. You've obviously been familiar with the players. You've come back, played summers, and so has there been anything different, some surprise you now that you're sort of in the system as opposed to sort of just kind of around?
Um, I think just the intensity, just playing like in practice, playing every day, and the speed. That's probably been like the biggest adjustment for me. But um, for the most part, like I've been around a lot, watching practice and seeing what practice is like, and starting with the coach's daily dozen and all those sorts of things. So I think um just figuring out like team chemistry and stuff like that with getting to know the guys, obviously being new to the team, being a little bit older, there can be some challenges there, but it's been fun. I'm looking forward just to we're going to Coach Izzo's beach house next week and we're gonna do some things shortly. So and grind week coming up in September. So I'm excited just to keep on going and before we know it, it's gonna be November, the season's gonna be starting.
Yeah, right. It's yeah. As we're doing the previews, we're recognizing the season's not as far away as it seems. Do, do you have you been to Grind Week before? Is this going to be your first time?
It's my first time just because I by that point I had already been, reported back to Harvard. So first time. So I don't really I mean I kind of know what to expect because I've heard some things, but truly don't really know what's gonna be going on. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, great.
Um,
Well, thanks. Oh, go ahead.
No, no,
Go ahead.
I've got a couple. I got a couple more quick follow-ups.
Sure.
So, kind of taking it away from basketball for a second. Are you've graduated from Harvard, correct? So you're in
Yes, sir.
graduate school at MSU. What? Just out of
Yeah.
curiosity, what's your master's program?
I'm
What are
in
you
the
studying?
master's finance program.
Okay. Is that something that you're looking to do professionally when basketball's over, or is given your family background, is there any thought in your mind to staying involved in the game in a coaching or some other capacity?
Yeah, obviously you've thought about that. I think I'll probably after this year, depending on how this year goes. I mean, my older brother just finished up playing his first year overseas, so there's probably three, kind of paths that I could take if I wanted to go play over in some cool like city like Stockholm or London or just have a really cool year playing basketball and maybe the money's not great or whatever it is. But that's kind of how it goes. You kind of have to earn your way out there as a rookie. So that path is one, and then obviously using I was economics from Harvard, and then hopefully the finance program served me well. Using that to, maybe try to get into some sort of investment banking. I really like the Boston area, so that would probably be where I would look first in terms of recruiting for like positions like that. And then obviously there's the coaching, but I think probably coaching would probably be last as of right now. Just I think, it would be way easier. Let's just put it this way: it'd be way easier for me to fall back on coaching, 10 years from now than try to kickstart a career in finance or investment banking
Sure.
after like if I didn't enjoy the coaching process or that didn't go well. Because I have such a kind of a knowledge and know the game just through my dad.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. And a reminder, of course, if you need your windows cleaned, head on over to the Squeegee Squad of Grand Rapids. They can take care of it, whether you're in the greater Grand Rapids area. You can find links to that at our support page at thefinalfoursonaontheschedule.com/support. You can get the links there. 15% off any work by Troy and his team. They do fantastic work, whether it's just power washing or the windows themselves. So, Denham Wojcik, thanks so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And until next time, the Final Four is not on the schedule. Go green.
Thank you guys.